Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we've been reacting to
Will Greenland finally get independence from Denmark? So honestly, I felt nobody cared about this until Trump announced he won Greenland. Now everybody cares about it. So do we actually? Let's not be hypocrites. It's interesting. Let's see.
What do you think?
I have no idea. I don't know why they don't have the independence. I honestly, I never thought they were not independent. I guess I assumed they were, but they're not.
I still don't think they're gonna get independence if they go to the US now.
Well, are they? Because I feel like if this Trump is going to sanction Denmark if they don't sell, if that is true, so Denmark, instead of selling, they just give them independence and that's it. Then I can't sell you, it's not mine. This so they can't get sanctions, right?
Ooh.
So they brush their hands.
So then what would US do? Come.
Well, they can either offer something, either offer us politely, take a military takeover, declare war on them, which just would be ridiculous. Not going to happen. Or, just move on. So, we'll see. But anyway, let's get into it.
In his New Year's address, Greenland's Prime Minister called for independence from Denmark and the removal of the shackles of the colonial era, boosting the Arctic Islands' long-running mission to independence at a time when the attention of
So they do want independence then. So yeah, they're not coming to the States.
Donald Trump has brought Greenland into the spotlight. So in this video, we're going to explain Greenland's ongoing push for independence.
But maybe this is also an alliance thing to help
Greenland
to get independence.
Do we have an alliance
Is
with
there
them? I don't know.
is it ideal for Greenland to be independent from Denmark?
What the challenges could be and how it could happen. Dive deeper into politics with our magazine Too Long. Yes, we took a quick look back at Greenland's history and the path it took to its current status as an autonomous territory in the Kingdom of Denmark. Greenland has been inhabited for thousands of years, with several waves of Inuit migrations onto Greenland, stretching from 2500 BCE to the 11th century. Greenland's current Inuit population, which makes up a little less than 90% of the total population, is descended from the most recent Inuit migration, which reached Greenland by the 13th century. Settlements of Norse people from Iceland and Norway had begun to be established by the late 10th century. But while this Norse society survived for more than 400 years, by the beginning of the 16th century, Greenland's Norse settlements had declined and disappeared, with the increasingly cold climate often cited as one of the possible reasons. So how did Greenland actually end up in Danish hands? Well, in 1721, the United Kingdom of Denmark-Norway approved the founding of a trading company and Lutheran mission for Greenland, which effectively kick-started the island's colonial period. And it remained a Danish colony until 1953, when it was integrated into Denmark as a county. But over the following decades, Greenland would continue on a path towards greater autonomy. It was granted home rule in 1970.
Not only a big county, a remote county too. Like that's so inconvenient. How would you even control? I don't know. It's interesting county.
79, meaning that it gained some autonomy while Denmark kept responsibility.
Let's see.
Granted home rule in 1979, meaning that it gained some...
Okay, so Greenland is able to establish its own parliament and government, pass laws on areas such as education, health, culture, determine its own official language, control some industries such as fishing and hunting, independently manage welfare programs.
Kind of like a state.
Kind of like a state. To me, it gives a state here in this.
Some autonomy, while Denmark kept...
And a lot of some.
...responsibility for things like...
Denmark retains authority over foreign relations, defense, legal system, currency, constitution. Yeah, it's a state, honestly. Sounds like a state here. Federal government versus state government, yeah.
Foreign relations, defense, constitutional affairs, currencies, and the legal system. Since then, Greenlanders have made clear a desire for greater autonomy, with independence as an eventual goal. Pro-independence parties have consistently won elections, and in a 2008 referendum, 75% of Greenlandic citizens voted in favour of the Act on Greenland's Self-Government, which expanded the island's autonomy, with greater control over the police, courts, coast guard, mineral resource activities, and many other areas. The Act also recognised Greenland's right of self-determination, and established the decision regarding Greenland's
independence. Wow, so naturally they're going
independence.
to want independence. So I think Denmark is slowly giving away.
Yeah, I think Trump is forcing their hand to give it away, if anything, yeah.
Shall be taken by the people of Greenland, i.e. through a referendum, which, if successful, will kickstart negotiations between the Greenlandic and Danish governments with a view to deliver independence. Since the Self-Government Act was enacted, Greenlanders have consistently continued to elect...
I do wonder, the taxes that Greenland collects. Does it kick back to Denmark or no? Because it's always about the money. So if it kickbacks to Denmark, Denmark might be not wanting to let them go because of the money. But if there's no financial kickback from Greenland government, then of them, you know.
Pro-independence governments. Most recently in 2021, when pro-independence parties won a combined 80% of the vote. But it's worth taking a moment to explain why the idea of independence has such strong support in Greenland.
You know, I just thought of if they do get a kickback, it's kind of like a mafia, you know, protection. They're like, oh, if you pay mafia like X percentage of your you know your profits, so they protect your business establishment, like back in the day, you know, in the mafia movies.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
Anyways, it's not all that surprising. Greenland has a distinct identity with its own language, culture, and so on. It also has clear geographic boundaries and is geographically distant from Denmark. On top of this, for many Greenlanders, independence would not only secure Greenland the powers and responsibilities that it still lacks, but would also finally mark an end to the long colonial history that has involved much maltreatment over the years. But
I wonder,
if Greenland is consistently...
I guess they don't have like a way to like get to that island like quickly.
To play?
Yeah.
Playing on boat?
elected pro-independence governments. Why hasn't it happened yet? While there is majority support for independence, the main obstacle is the fact that Greenland hasn't really been ready for independence. So independence advocates generally see it as a future goal to be worked towards with careful planning. And as such, the last half-century has seen a series of revisions and expansions of Greenland's governing rights and responsibilities. But the greatest challenge for would-be independent Greenland is the economy. With a population of just 56,000 people spread across a huge, icy, rugged island, the Greenlandic economy is understandably small and pretty vulnerable. Domestic fishery...
That's true. If so few people and so spread out, you need a lot of funds to kind of connect them and manage everything. Because they're not like... If it was like small but close together, it's a little easier. But if it's spread, that's a little different. Yeah.
These are the island's primary source of revenue, and a block grant from Denmark of more than $500 million per year constitutes roughly a fifth of Greenland's GDP. And
so they send money to Greenland.
Half of its public budget, which it would lose if it became independent. The block grant's proportion of GDP is falling though, and there are areas of potential growth. For example, the incumbent Greenlandic government wants...
No, I was gonna say that Greenlanders might want to become part of the states for their grants, whatever money we would send government money to them. But now, we don't have no money to send. What do we send?
But how much more would it be a difference?
I don't know. I guess we are a bigger country. We could theoretically afford to send more, but we're in a deficit. What are we going to send?
To boost the tourism industry. And then there's Greenland's significant deposits of rare earth metals.
The only thing it might boost the tourist industry, because if you don't need a passport to travel no more, so more like a lot of Americans who want to travel and see what's up.
And them too as well.
Them coming to America?
Yeah.
They're becoming more accessible as a result of melting ice, which is also opening up the Arctic shipping routes past Greenland. So with that in mind,
and also I'd be curious
on...
if they could even develop more, because they can do as much as what they have in terms of resources. So if it is more money to develop into a stronger island, I think maybe they would consider it.
On the horizon. Well, there has certainly been some progress in the matter over the past few years. In 2023, after 6 years of work, Greenland's parliament unveiled a draft constitutional report, seen as a step towards independence. And as we mentioned at the start of this video, in the Greenlandic Prime Minister's New Year's address, he said that it was time to remove the shackles of the colonial era, adding that Greenland's current relationship with Denmark had not created full equality. He pointed to the draft constitution and the legal basis for achieving independence set out in the 2009 Self-Government Act, saying that work has already begun on creating the framework for Greenland as an independent state. Going on to say, it is necessary to take major steps. The upcoming new election period must, together with the citizens, create these new steps. Now, Greenland has a general election due by April of this year, so some see his comments as hinting at him holding an independence referendum alongside the election. However, this would only be a step towards independence, as if successful, the referendum would open up negotiations between Greenland and Denmark, and any agreement would need the approval of the Greenlandic and Danish parliaments, and the Greenlandic people. So there's still a lot of work to be done. And at this point, we should probably mention the elephant in the room.
Yes.
Donald Trump.
I wonder what is there to discuss for Denmark to agree. I think it's just agreeing, so no longer accepting grants.
As far as they're shown here, yes. But maybe there's some more details that we don't know.
By now that Greenland, already the site of a US airbase, has seemingly become a bit of an obsession for the former and incoming president, who wants to see Greenland become part of the United States. Now, Trump offered to buy the island from Denmark in 2019, but was rebuffed by the Greenlandic and Danish governments. Having rekindled and ramped up his public desire for the island in the past few weeks, he has once again
I am hearing that the people of Greenland are MAGA. Okay.
been rebuffed, with the Greenlandic Prime Minister saying that Greenland is ours. We are not for sale and will never be for sale. We must not lose our long struggle for freedom. Ultimately, the interest from Trump goes to show that independent Greenland would not simply be left alone to quietly do its own thing, but would almost certainly be a geopolitical hotspot owing to its strategic location and valuable resources. Would an independent Greenland join NATO? Would the US retain its military outposts on the island, or could other militaries gain a foothold? Which countries would invest in Greenland's infrastructure and would...
I see. I didn't think about that. What if they become independent and then they become like partners with Russia or China? That's close.
No, remember we saw that because of the positioning of
I know.
it. They're like neighbors to
No,
a lot of people
I
that would be interested in
understand.
partnership.
But that's close to us. So for national security reasons. I see.
We
now.
saw that.
I didn't connect it.
which companies would gain access to the island's resources. These are just a few of the questions that the world's powers will be considering as Greenland continues its push for independence. And this is just...
I guess, no, it was, they were always, part of Denmark, whatever, so I didn't think that the alternative, because if they become independent, they can make their own decision who they want to ally themselves with. Imagine if they allies themselves with the Russians. That's close. That's close to home.
And didn't they show that some of the people maybe have some bloodline ties to Russian too as well?
Yeah, based on the migration, yeah. I think that's it.
one of many power struggles we expect to see play out in 2025 as Trump enters office and global dynamics shift. The question is then, who will come out on top? Who is the world's most influential?
Okay, yeah, that's the sponsor.
I mean, everyone's afraid for Greenland to be independent because they will make their own decision and their people need to make the decision
I
for them.
think, it's also maybe what Denmark has to agree to. I'm sure they would incorporate that Greenland would have to, be on our side, not... If they want to split, they have to be, join the NATO or something like that, That would probably be part of agreement. If that would make sense. Because... Yeah, it would not be good if they would go on the other side.
I don't think that's still operating as independent if you have to force someone to enter into a group.
I mean, it's a contract.
Because then you can leave NATO, you could leave it, right?
You could, but there would be repercussions, yeah. So, the trade agreements and everything, get cut off and stuff like that. So, I don't know, interesting. Wow, this is way more complex than I thought.
I want to see more videos of this. Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And Zoys, share as much kindness as possible.